She was obsessed with Howard, convinced he was hiding things.
And I'll tell you the same thing I told her. I'm not going anywhere near Howard and all that. That's got nothing to do with me.
Power fans, what's good? And man, I must say, episode 7 was definitely a solid one. However, this episode felt more like a bridge to the latter half of the season where things between Rock and Ronnie are going to heat up. Now, this episode also has some small details that I believe will lead to some significant game changers as we approach the last 3 episodes. So in this video, we are going to focus on some of the consequences and underlying butterfly effect in this power ecosystem. Now, the butterfly effect is the idea that small things can have non-linear impacts on a complex system. Keep this in mind as we explore these consequences and the actions that preceded them. Now, as everyone expected, Ronnie had to check Paul. See, the thing about the drug game is that it's not for everyone. Now, there are circumstances where you are forced to adapt whether you're built for the game or not. However, in Paul's case, he never should have been in the game to begin with. See, he was only in it for that quick dollar. And the core of this video is built around consequences, so you best believe Paul will suffer the consequence for making the dire choice to go into business with Kanan to begin with. See, neither him or Kanan foresaw a situation like Ronnie coming. We all know that selling weed doesn't come with the same intensity or extreme circumstances as the heavier drugs, cocaine and heroin. See, going from selling weed to selling heroin is the equivalent of going pro straight out of high school. But what this means now is that everyone is at stake. See, not just Kanan and Ronnie, but everyone that's around them. Whether that's trusting that those people will keep their mouth shut or that those people don't slip up and end up on the Fed's radar. Now, we all know Rock is back into the drug game. However, I really enjoyed her meet with her and Quan. See, Quan was justified in being hesitant to work with Rock. And since we're on the theme of consequences, there's only a matter of time before Quan realizes he should have went with his first instinct and not to do business with Raquel. However, after meeting with Quan, she met with the restaurant owner about setting up a network of multiple restaurants to expand this operation. See, one thing about Rock is she knows how to build an organization, and as she stated, she's clearly born to move weight. She brilliantly stakes out the multiple locations to understand how the procurement of the restaurant business works. As she spotted the supply trucks at each location, it's safe to say she'll be using those supply trucks to move the weight and money across the city. But first, she's gonna kinda have to work through some racial barriers with the owner of the supply company. But I think we all know, once he realizes who she's working with, there'll be a friendly percentage that they both can agree to. But again, these choices are all bounded by consequences. See, we understand that Ronnie and Rock have a pending showdown. Keep in mind that this is the spot Unique took Ronnie to when they were trying to set up their operation. Rock and Ronnie are on a collision course, so best believe he would do everything he can to disrupt her momentum. Unfortunately, that leaves the restaurant owners in extreme danger in these choices. Now, with no surprise, the feds are still at it. Now, they don't appear to have much on Marvin. However, Tanner is keeping what they're focusing on close to the chest. As I stated in my previous video, these cops are smart, but you also have to ask yourself, does Tanner have an inclination that he can't trust Howard? I think it's safe to say, for these next 3 episodes, Howard is going to be on the ride of his life. Now, after the conversation with Tanner, Miss Chantel was walking in to speak with Detective Peng before Howard intercepted. But you have to ask yourself, did Tanner get eyes on Chantel? And what's going to happen when Detective Peng finds out what happened to her? See, we can't forget she was his CI, so he will be aware of her death. Perhaps he questions Howard about their conversation. Again, Howard is all but sure to face the consequences of his actions, but that doesn't go without saying. With all the things Howard has to be stressed about, he did get some good news. He is transitioning to narcotics. However, even that good news was short-lived because there's a small yet huge factor. Howard will have to get his background looked into. And who knows how deep they will dig. Perhaps even as far back to his undercover case when Rock was his CI. Again, y'all, Tanner's going to find and connect these dots between Howard and Rock. And I think we all know it's about to hit the fan real soon. Now, as I anticipated, we got the return of Burke's father, and this is also going to be crucial to Howard's downfall. Now, with consequences comes a contrite heart. Of course, he's still mourning his daughter, however, his actions had severe consequences as well. Had he supported his daughter in her suspicion about Howard, maybe she'll still be here today. Who knows? But I must say, Howard is cold as they come. I mean, he spoke to her dad like he ain't splattered her brains out the side of her driver's seat window. See, the way he's able to empathize with her father as if he had nothing to do with her murder makes Howard a severe sociopath. Now, Burke's father sent out of Olive Branch to Burke's girlfriend Adina, even apologizing for how he treated her and his daughter. We all know the 90s was a different era, and same-sex relationships were not welcome the way they are today. With that said, Burke's dad tries to revisit why his daughter was looking into Howard. Now, although Adina doesn't want to go down that rabbit hole, something tells me she's not going to let someone she loves die on this lie. The truth about Burke is for sure to get exposed, and it's looking more like Howard will be behind bars more than ever before. The writers seem to be setting up his pending fall indeed. Now, my girl Motormouth Juke is at it again. I must say, she's starting to become my least favorite character on the show for that reason alone. She talks way too much. Juke approaching Kanan and discussing that street business was very imprudent. That conversation should have been done between her and Kanan only, not in front of Aisha or Crystal. See, in the game, the knowledge of what's going on is just as deadly as being a player in the game itself. Now, I was hoping this wouldn't be the case, but it's looking more like Kanan will be the key variable as to why Juke's music career doesn't work out. Kanan making Aisha catch the train by herself because she wouldn't give it up hurt Aisha, and rightfully so. As a result, it pissed Juke off, considering that she told him to treat her right. Now, I know this is TV, however, all Juke had to say was she liked the girl, and all of this could have been avoided. But as I stated in the previous video, Juke don't fear nobody, and while talking to Kanan, she did make a valid point.
You still a scared ass little boy trying to show his mama he a man.
Now, we can agree Rock is a sociopath. However, Kanan got into this game when he didn't need to, just like his future protege Tariq. However, like Unique said, Kanan was in this shit before he was in this shit. Now, I like how the writers displayed Kanan's player ways, even showing him flirting with Crystal, though he was at the rehearsal to take Aisha out. Now, it's obvious Crystal doesn't like Aisha, so I do think her messing with Kanan is just another way for her to shade Aisha in the group. As a result, Kanan and Crystal gets it cracking, but we all know Kanan's decision to mess with Crystal will be the catalyst that helps destroy Juke's music career. Best believe Crystal is going to let it be known that she smashed Kanan, simply out of pure spite because she dislikes Aisha. Now, when this explodes in front of the group, I can see the manager possibly kicking Juke out for allowing her cousin to incite more dysfunction in the group. It's safe to say the Kanan and Juke as we knew them before, they long gone. Now, the highlight of the show is Home Run Lou making a return. Now, I don't know about y'all, but something tells me this might come back on Lou or even Detective Howard possibly. Though he took out Scrappy's mom, I feel that this is going to be some huge blowback. I mean, Lou does make it right. However, you have to ask yourself, was this a simple, clean hit? I mean, a drunk with no mask and no gloves sounds like a recipe for failure if you ask me. Again, consequences are soon to follow. Now, we also got another glimpse into the Thomas family history. We can at least see that their mother wasn't much of a mother at all to the Thomas siblings. Maybe this is why Lou looked to Rock as a motherly figure. The scene where Lou's mother has me looking forward to more backstory because Lou subtly hinted at the idea that it wasn't music that took out his dad, but perhaps it was his mother. Not literally, however, she played a role in the decline of his mental that led to his demise. Now, we gotta give it up to these writers, y'all. They're eloquently taking their time with these stories. They're meticulously crafting Kanan's origins before they shift the focus to Kanan himself. That I can appreciate. Now, as obvious as it was in the episode 7 trailer, Juliana is trying to get those cheeks clapped by Ronnie, though he was obviously uncomfortable. Now, why is Juliana trying to get Ronnie to relax so much? We know that business and pleasure is an absolute oxymoron in the dope game. They can't coexist. Now we gotta see how shrewd Ronnie is. I hope he is able to keep that relationship strictly business for his sake and hers. Also, Ronnie pressing Pernessa was one of those eerie Ronnie moments because although she didn't think he would kill Unique at first, she might be rethinking that thought. And if she decides to go down that rabbit hole, well, it's safe to say Jerome may have to grow up without a mommy and a daddy. Some quick mentions here before I head out. Now shout out to Famous Mom for letting him back home. This is bittersweet because that's where he should have been the entire time. But it's too late for that. And Famous cannot take back what he's done. Also, Famous still carrying around the murder weapon that he killed Freddy with? That's a rookie mistake 101. They showed us that gun for a reason, and it's going to come back to hurt him within these next 3 episodes. Now I must say the loser of this episode goes to strung out George. George leaving his daughters in the freezing cold while he shoots up was such a sad scene to see. So much for Gerald being a fed. I mean, this guy is a straight up dope fiend who burnt all his bridges. I truly hope he gets himself together or at least get the children to a safer situation. Marvin, as he's been all season, is the moral savior of this show. However, don't get it twisted, he's still down with the murder game, cause he made sure Lou took out Chantel. He didn't give a damn whether Lou was drunk or not. That boy had to get the job done. So there it is, man. Those are my key takeaways for episode 7. As I stated, this is definitely the bridge to an explosive ending we are on the verge of getting. These writers are setting the storyline up for a huge impact, not only in this season, but how Kanan's story will develop in the seasons going forward. And as always, y'all know I appreciate y'all for tapping in. Please do not forget to subscribe. And as always, never be afraid to reinvent yourselves. I'm out.